really all about. Meaning, if I want the Father's forgiveness as a child of Zion, I'm going to have to find someone who's done me wrong, and I'm going to have to consciously, willfully, yea, even gladly release them.
Hallelujah.
Because you'll never be manifesting Yahweh more than that. Never. Not hugging, not shaking hands, not giving someone a high five. That is Yahweh. You become Yahweh. You become a Sephirah. A manifestation of Yahweh. And let me tell you, as a child of Yahweh, you have no choice. And Yahweh doesn't care about the world. This is a training camp. This is boot camp for the kingdom.
That's right.
If you can't forgive a brother and sister who's blood washed, how are you going to forgive someone in the world who has ongoing hatred and ongoing and has plans to eliminate you?
Right.
Yahweh takes care of the world. We got to take care of the household of faith. Do good to all men, especially those of Beit Emunah. Turn to your neighbor and say, Beit Emunah. Beit Emunah. Lucas 23:34. Is anyone enjoying?
Yes.
Yahshua said, Father, forgive them. Hem lo yodim ma shehem osim, slach lahem. Forgive them. They divided his garments and cast lots. Verse 35. The people were standing, looking, so forth and so on. Okay? So Yeshua said, Father, forgive them. Why? Why? He was teaching us a principle. What was the principle? Father, forgive them as I forgive them. And here is the greatest love on the greatest day of the greatest man who ever lived. Hello? The greatest love on the greatest day of the greatest man who ever lived. The greatest day, the greatest act of love by the greatest man who ever lived. Father, forgive them. How do you become great on your great day in your greatest act of love? How do you act like Yeshua, forgiving those who have wronged you? Not those who you think have wronged you. Not those who you've heard have wronged you. Not those who you have suspected have been talking about you. No. People that you know have wronged you. There's Yeshua. And Yeshua's love was manifested to the whole world. On that day, when you forgive people and you get those mountains out of your life, you'll be manifest to the whole world. Your love will be manifest to the whole world. Because when you do something that radical, you'll be hanging on a cross for the whole world to see. Smoke that one. When you get that radical in forgiveness, you'll be exposed to the whole world. Because people don't do this. Natural, but we're not called to be natural people. We're called to be a supernatural people. Natural people are not going to do this. You will be exposed to the whole world, and you'll be laughed at. You're a sucker. You're a sucker. Look at you. Look at you. People will laugh at you. They'll mock you. The bulls of Bashan will show up suddenly.
Where's your Cadillac?
Hello? They'll say, you're so stupid forgiving those who have eternally wronged you that we even want your clothes. This guy's a real idiot, forgiving those who have hurt him and done him wrong. You're that stupid, you might as well give us your house, give us your car, give us your clothes. And they took his garments and parted his garments and cast lots for his vesture. He was an idiot in the eyes of the world. But Yahweh, through the foolishness of preaching, has chosen to save those and redeem those who believe.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Oh, praise Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Amen.
This wisdom in this world and their wisdom knew not wisdom, for had the princes of this world really known wisdom, they wouldn't have crucified the master of Kavod. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. For the foolishness of Yahweh is wiser than the wisdom of men.
Amen.
When you hang openly and vulnerable, you are going to be so vulnerable when you're looking for people that have done you wrong. You're going to be so vulnerable. Your car, your home, your reputation. You're going to be completely vulnerable. But you're going to acquire the most precious commodity, ongoing forgiveness from the Father. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, this is what the real Yeshua said. Not what religion has repackaged to do this. Of course they got to do this. They got to have 5 services every day. How else can they get 5 offerings? People say to me, Rabbi, I love you, and I love your wife, and I love the music, I love the stereo, I love it, Ted, I love everybody, I love everybody. But the services, long, man, they're long. And then like folks at home will press a pause button and go get some popcorn. We got to sit here for 6 hours. Why? Why so long? Because we don't do this. We actually have something to say. Can you imagine that? I don't know how to do this. Maybe you can teach me one day. I mean, this is what Scripture says. It is frightening. Yeah, maybe Yahweh Chesed will make sure that the people that I have not forgiven will make sure that I'm forgiven, and I'll be with Yeshua when my body goes 6 feet under. I don't want to take that when Yeshua clearly warned me over and over and over and over again, 70 times 7. And here's the scary part. It's your job. Not the person who's hurt you and done you wrong. It's your job to go find them. If you have aught against your brother, Matthew 16, go find them.
Right.
That's the scary part. And you'll be hanging exposed to the whole world.
Go look for them. That's
They
right.
don't even have to offer.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem, yeah.
That's when you are Yeshua. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. Okay, Luke 17. And I'm learning. I'm learning to practice this stuff. I want to try. I want to try.
Yes.
I want to try everyone that I am at odds with for whatever reason. Doesn't matter how good the reason is. There's a lot of good reasons not to speak to people. Okay? There are a lot of good reasons. He didn't say hello to me. He looked cross-eyed at me. Okay? I had one guy in the shul was going to hit me. This was my old shul because I didn't say hello to him. Because he was walking around telling everybody that he had a piece of the cross in the basement, in his basement, and I was telling everybody, shh, this guy's crazy, don't listen to me. He goes, are you telling people I'm crazy? I said, yeah. He goes, he was going to hit me, and my elder caught his arm. Okay? That's why I'm here today. Because of a quick thinking elder. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Or how about the time when the Orthodox Jews were going to kill me in New York? We were doing street preaching with Pastor Howard Coram, a good Baptist friend of mine, and we were doing street preaching, and the crowd that they came into the yeshiva, missionaries, missionaries! They ran up the flight of stairs and they emptied out the whole yeshiva. 20-year-old, 19-year-old, 23-year-old boys, big boys ready to kick my butt, and boom, we just started running down the block, and miraculously, a New York City transit bus pulled up, opened the doors, we ran in, and they were just left banging on the bus.
Oh, hey.
When we were preaching the gospel in New York, when I was a little bit Meshuggah, we actually had that, where they ran into the yeshiva. Hurry, hurry! Hurry, the missionaries, yeah, over there, the fat one right there.
Oh, yeah.
So you always send the bus.
They wanted you under the bus. Now we got you.
Yeah, how about the days, Rivka, our first date? Ask Rivka about our first and second date. She'll tell you about it. We stood in front of Alexander's with gloves and hats on when it was 18 degrees preaching the good news, and the cops were making plans to arrest us. We had to keep moving. That was our second date, preaching the good news in 18-degree weather. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Okay. Luke 17 and verse 3. Lucas 17:3. Take heed. What does that mean? Be careful. Take heed. Watch. Be careful. If your brother sins against you, rebuke him. If he repents, forgive him. If he sins against you 7 times in a day, and 7 times in a day comes back to you saying, I repent, you shall forgive him. Okay, now notice, verse 5, this proves what I was saying back in Mark 11. His Talmidim came to him and said, Master, wow, in order to do this kind of forgiveness 7 times in a day, Master, we need some more faith, because what we have is not going to cut it. You see how that big faith thing is not for natural material things? The increase in faith is for you to take mountains of unforgiveness and get them out of your life. We see that here again. Let's look at that so we don't miss it. And in verse 5, the emissaries came to Mashiach and said, Master, look, to do what you're talking about, we need more faith. How many times has that been twisted? Speak to this mountain. Brother, have you spoken to the mountain? No. Well, come into our class and we'll train you how to speak to mountains. You know what they do to people who speak to mountains? La cri de mort. Do you ever hear cri de mort? It's a mental institut in Queens. All right? Don't ever be caught speaking to mountains, please. All right? Because if we start speaking to mountains, pretty soon you'll be speaking to your morning cornflakes.
Yeah.
Good morning, Holy Spirit. I'm not going there. I am not going there. I will not go there. Give us more belief. Hello? Why? To get these mountains and speak them and throw them into the sea. Hello? So whatever we can say shall come to pass. We need every act of unforgiveness and hatred and bitterness and pent-up anger to come to pass. And how? Master, more, please, Master. That's what I'm doing. I have issues that I'm struggling with in my life. Okay, I don't know a formula. I don't know a tape series. I don't know a Midwest ministry that can straighten me out. I've got problems. Just like you do. Turn to your neighbor and says, he's got problems. Turn to another neighbor and say, I always knew he had problems.
I always knew he had problems.
I mean, we all have problems. All right, we all have problems. Now, I have tried everything in some areas to get rid of these problems. They're not happening. So I am actually having to humble myself and say, Father, if you don't give me victory, it's not going to happen. That's how you move mountains. You increase your faith in Yahweh, not in formulas.
Amen.
We see it here. Now, Yeshua says, look, not only 70 times 7, from all your life to the end of this age, the end of the Olam Hazeh, and the beginning of the Olam Haba, yea, more than that, 7 times a day, the Talmidim say, Master, you got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. For this, you want us to do this, increase our faith. So that faith is not a force, it is a gift to get those mountains of anger and unforgiveness out of your life.
Right.
You need faith to get those things out, not to heap it upon yourselves and treasures and hide it in this world where moths and thieves and rust corrupts.
Right.
How about the guy that was going to build barns? He says, I got more things. I'll build bigger barns. Yeshua said, shh, come here. I want to do some counseling with you. Tonight, you fool, your soul is required of you. Tonight. Building bigger, people ask me, Rabbi, it's too small here. We're never going to grow. We need a bigger barn. I says, it's not about building barns. It's about building a kingdom. You think if we build a bigger barn here, we're going to have more people? No. We've got to be faithful in little things. I don't want a bigger building. More maintenance, more rent. I'll make you a deal. If you fill every seat for 2 months, I'll get a bigger building. 2 Shabbats straight, every seat for 2 months. I'm sorry, 2 months straight. Deal? Deal. Let's move on. Getting some mad looks. No. Don't get angry. See? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I know exactly what I'm doing. We were in a synagogue, a real synagogue, Orthodox, and we left it. Why? And we moved into a warehouse. Most rabbis would think you're crazy. Why? Because the bathroom was disgusting. There was water on the floor. The lobby was disgusting. They put Coke bottles in the house of Yahweh. I couldn't bring my people to that. Here you could eat off the floors, because Reina does a tov job, and those who work here. We could eat off the floors here. There has to be dignity in the house of Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Dignity and respect. That's why we moved from a real synagogue. Yes, if the toilets were, if the lobby wasn't a storage room, if they weren't cooking ham upstairs while we were having a Shabbat service, I would have stayed there. I would have stayed there. So don't judge me for moving into a warehouse. I knew exactly what I was doing. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Somebody needs to forgive me for that. Okay, let's go to 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians. So we have Matityahu, we have Yochanan Marcus, Moshe, We have Luke. Now we're going to get Rav Shaul. Rav Shaul. 2 Corinthians 2 and 10. I'm going to go quickly. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. 2 Corinthians 2. Oh, I love this cordless mic. Chris is good. I feel like the guy on Noticias 23. Guillermo. Yo soy Guillermo. Como Guillermo. Libertad, libertad. Who knows what the rabbi watches at night? Okay. Second Corinthians 2 and 10. Whom you forgive any matter, I also forgive, Rav Shaul says. If indeed I have forgiven any matter, I have forgiven that one for your sake in the sight of Moshiach, notice, lest Satan takes advantage of us and we are not ignorant of his devices and thoughts. So Rav Shaul says, look, even though I'm not there, even though the guy's done me nothing, if you've forgiven him, I've forgiven him because I don't want Satan getting a hold of my ministry and a foothold in my life. So even though I don't know what you're talking about, if you've forgiven that person, I've forgiven them. Even though I'm not there in person, even though I'm not there in the flesh, I've forgiven that person. Okay? So if Marilyn goes looking for someone that has really done her wrong, stole her blind, okay? $1,000, $2,000, opened her, robbed her bank account. If she goes seeking that person out, and she comes and gives us a report that Yahweh has given her the ability to release that person, so we also, as brothers and sisters in Yeshua, we rejoice and say, yeah, we heard about that, and we were angry too. We released that person. Okay? So you can release a person through another. If another releases a person, you also can release that person through the bad reports that you've heard. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay? And I don't know why we're going back here, but we are. Let's go back to Luke 7:47. Is anyone enjoying?
Yes. Lucas.
Let's try that again. Is anyone enjoying?
Yes. Hashem Yahweh.
Luke 7:47. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Lucas 7:47. Talking to Shimon, the jar maker. Now, in one of the versions, it talks about, let's see, I believe back a few verses, she was in the house of Simon the leper. Okay? In one of the verses, let's see. There's a different set of circumstances. I have someone say to you, this is Shimon the Pharisee. Okay? So Yeshua teaching Shimon the Pharisee, he's saying, Shimon, look, when I came into your house, you gave me no kiss. Verse 45. You did not wet my feet with tears or wipe them with your hair. You did not anoint my head with oil, but she anointed my feet with perfume. Actually, the Greek word is pistachio. Pistachio. Therefore, I say to you, though her sins are many, they have been forgiven. Why? Because she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, loves little. He said to her, your sins have been forgiven. Here's a principle. To whom much has been forgiven, he it is that loves much. Rav Shaul was the biggest enemy of the good news. But because Yeshua forgave him so much, he became the greatest proclaimer of the good news. You follow me? The more a person hates you, and I'm talking to myself, trust me. The more a person hates you, the quicker you are to release them. Find them, release them, ask Yahweh to increase your faith before you do it, because you're going to have to remove that mountain, and it's not going to come without ever-increasing faith. That's ever-increasing faith. Okay? When you've got that ever-increasing faith and you release that person will become your greatest supporter, your greatest friend. If Yahweh can move that mountain, and he said, you're standing praying before the Father, he will move that mountain. It is the Father's heart to move that mountain for you. He will take that enemy and turn that person into your biggest friend and your biggest supporter. Okay? I used to have a lady every week, you're a false prophet. Really. And you're a false this, and you're this, and you're deceiving the people. Okay? But every week she'd send me a check. I said, well, wait a second. Well, why are you sending me a check if I'm a false prophet? Something in her head, she knew she was supposed to forgive me or release me in her heart, but because she has too much pride or whatever her mountain was, she couldn't do it. So her way of relieving her guilt was sending me a check. And a lot of parents do that to their children. Okay, instead of spending time with them, or instead of loving them, or trying to help them, here's a check, go buy what you want to buy. Or here's a check, go shopping. Okay, now that's easy. That's easy to do. We all do that. I do that with my children. It's wrong. Okay, it's easier to give them a check than get out of the car and spend time. It's hard to spend time with the ones we love, but we should. And I'm guilty of that also. Okay, where were we? So here's the principle. The person that hates you the most will become your biggest friend and benefactor if you pray, give him to Yahweh, and release them and leave the results to Yahweh. Make sense? Release them and let Yahweh do the results. Let Yahweh do it. You've got to release them. You have no choice. If I were you, I would make a list of every person in my life that I need to contact. Who cares? They may hang up on you. There was a woman here who hung up on us. We called her, and we tried to get her to come back and speak to her and whatnot. She hung up on us, and then she called us again, and we said, sure, no problem. We forgive you. No problem. We understand. No problem. And now she loves us. So in other words, the principle is he that loves, he that is, which of you right here in this assembly love Yeshua the most? Now we can't measure it because it's hard to measure, right? But I guarantee you the ones who have had the worst background and the worst path. Huh? You've had the most to be forgiven. I can never take Yeshua for granted because the things that I've done in my life and the things I've done in my past are enough to send me to the lake of fire 10 times over. So there's a principle. The ones that love Yeshua the most are the ones who have been forgiven the most. So if that's true in the spiritual, why wouldn't it be true in the natural? The ones that have harmed you the most will be your best friends because Yahweh is ready to do something with that mountain. You with me? And you need more faith to go to them and to the Father. That's why you need faith to move out and speak to those mountains. You get that? Who are the mountains? Mountains of unforgiveness, hatred, anger, and bitterness. Speak to the mountain. That's not the word faith garbage. Speak to the mountain means pick up the phone, knock on their door, and speak to them. Hello. That's real tough to figure out. So here we got a whole bunch of Christians speaking to mountains. What's next? Turtle doves? When Yahweh says speak to the mountain, what is he saying? Speak to the mountain of bitterness and unforgiveness. To me, it's making sense.
Yes.
I'm not going to quit, so don't even look at your clock.
I know when you quit.
Because I'm not stopping.
No pares, no pares. I need more. It's good stuff.
No cocos.
I don't think that's the word, brother.
No mess.
Maybe in Ireland, but not in Spain. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Okay.
Africa, South Africa.
One time I was trying to make a Spanish joke and I just made a fool out of myself. I was talking about traffica, and everybody goes, shh. Because I was talking about narcotics or something. It has other meanings. Shh. So we got to be careful with that Spanish stuff, man. Ephesians 4. Ephesians.
Efesios.
See? Ephesians 4 and 32. Todah Rabba Yahweh. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, go home and think about what you heard today. When Yeshua says, speak to that mountain, that means you can actually speak to it. Seriously. Can you speak to a mountain of unforgiveness and bitterness? Sure, they have 2 legs and they're walking on this earth. Those are the kind of mountains you're supposed to speak to. I'm serious. This understanding will revolutionize your life and get you away from the word faith stuff. I believe we're supposed to have faith in Yahweh, not faith in faith. I have no faith. Didn't you? Rav Shaul says, we are those who are of the circumcision in heart, who have no confidence in the flesh. Didn't he say that? We are those of the circumcision in heart, who have no confidence in the flesh. How much confidence does Rabbi Moshe have in his flesh? None. I could be the next Unabomber. Okay? What's the difference between me and that guy? Chesed, mercy. I have no confidence in my flesh. My son used to tell me all the time. Nina tells me all the time. So, if I put on MTV and I put on VH1 and you don't trust me? I says, sweetheart, talk to Papa. I trust you. I don't trust your flesh. Ephesians 4:32. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I don't trust my flesh either. Okay. We put no confidence in the flesh. We are the circumcision of the heart who put no confidence in the flesh. Let all bitterness, verse 31, Ephesians 4:31. Let's go back to verse 30. Ephesians 4:30. Do not grieve or quench the Ruach HaKodesh of Elohim, by whom you were sealed for the day of Geulah. Let all bitterness and wrath and displeasure and uproar and slander, gossip, be put away from you along with all evil. Be kind towards one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim forgave you in Moshiach.
Hallelujah.
You know how folks say, hey brother, don't quench the spirit. Well, how am I quenching it? You're not letting me talk in tongues. No. It has nothing to do with talk. Well, you're not letting me name it and claim it and grab it and blab it and give. No. Don't quench the spirit. Leave me alone. I'm Pentecostal. Leave me alone. You ever hear this verse taken out of context? Now let's see what this verse actually says in context. How do we grieve the Ruach HaKodesh? We quench or grieve the Ruach when the bitterness, the wrath, the displeasure, the uproar, all the slander in our heart and the gossip, all that stuff that the Yahweh says put away from you, we don't put away, we hold on to with all the evil. Notice, all evil is